mean, you had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from Rock Solid Studios in Granite Falls, it's time for MinneZona Sports, live with DJ Matty C. and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back. Yes, claps all around from the zoners and everyone else. It is time for MinneZona Sports Live. And then without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc., etc., etc. And all the way from Woods and Shores Studios in Aiken, Minnesota, Paul Volt, the Shield. What's going on, Shield?
I'm just glad that the internet is working on a consistent basis on both ends here right now. So we're not going to hopefully, knock on wood right now. We're doing good so far, and hopefully that's just a good sign of more things to come here tonight.
It is, and honestly, we've got a lot to get to. I mean, the Wild are playing at 8. We got to talk about Danielle not showing up for OTAs, which we kind of did expect. And then also, Callahan School of Logic tonight. Mm-hmm. I'm going to give my little spiel on the Twins. It's not what you think. It's not me bashing the poll ads or anything like that, but we're going to get to it. And we're getting to ARA. One of them involves a guy over, or maybe not be over in Green Bay a little longer, for long now. So we'll be talking about that for ARA. So just to give you a little preview of what's to come. Then obviously Shield Shoutouts. So, but anyway, we got to get things going. Voldy with Tater Tot Hot Take, because we got to get to the Wild. Big game tonight at 8. Game 6, Wild, Golden Knights. We got to get into it, so let's get it going with some Tater Tot. Hot take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
All right, it's time for some Tater Tot Hot Take, and like I said, staying alive. Anyway, but hopefully by the end of tonight, the Wild are still alive. They head back to Vegas. They go to Game 7. We're keeping our fingers crossed. But obviously, let's trek back to a couple nights ago. The Wild 4-2 victory over the Golden Knights, staying alive. We love it here on MinneZona Sports Live, as well as the Zoners too. So
of course,
things are starting are moving in a good direction. I was watching the game last Monday night, Voldy, and I saw a lot of good things. I saw the Wild jump out to, early lead and everything like that. But obviously they were outshot. I mean, this team was outshot big time. And obviously,
big time.
Obviously, when you're looking at, in the second period, for instance, 21 shots for the Golden Knights, 1 shot for the Minnesota Wild. So I was watching the game, and honestly, you'd think, oh my gosh, how are the Wild still winning this game? And I think a lot of people would be like, yeah, I agree with the DJ Matty's here. I don't know how they stayed alive in this. But it's one of those things where now, the Wild found a way to win. And what's weird too is we talked about, I think it was last week, but Mr. Zach Parise came in and scored a goal for once. So we got to give claps all around for Zach Parise coming back. And here's the thing: it was a good jolt. They needed it, and hey, look at what's to become. So, Voldy, before we get into what you think, Seymour, good to see you. About time.
See money.
He says Coach Tibbs looking good on the sidelines in blue and orange. Well, he's done a good job with the Knicks. I mean, they're a 4th seed in the playoffs, which is crazy in itself.
Going for it.
Julius Randle's been fantastic for the Knicks, but But yeah, we all understand what Tibbs did here in Minnesota. He tried. Yeah, again, that was
tried.
We don't. Yeah, exactly. We don't want to get into that tonight. We don't need that. But Voldy, what were your thoughts on Game 5 on Monday night? Obviously, Wild coming out, on the right, coming out, firing, and obviously ending up winning the game. So, what are your thoughts on Game 5?
Yeah, it's exactly what we talked about. What happened in Game 1? Goaltending is going to take you as far as it can here in the postseason, and especially when you're getting outshot 21-1 in the first period and not, only give up one goal. I mean, that's a win right there. You win the first period right then and there. Hopefully, it sets the tone for the rest of the game. And you see Kaprizov get his first. Zach Parise gets a big goal to get off the schneid in that remark. And you didn't see any other player that celebrated more that victory than Zach Parise. He was out there and he was hungry for that W to keep this, because for all we know, this could be his last season in a Wild sweater, or in general as well, because he is at the very tail end of that contract. And, if things don't go well, I don't want to talk about that yet, but I'm keeping it in the back of my mind what happens if things don't go right here in Game 6. But I'm looking at the positive side. Kaprizov gets his first. Cam Talbot holds his own after getting roughed up the previous game, because the Wild jumped out early.
They did.
That 2-0 lead earlier in the series, and then 5 straight goals and lost. I mean, that's not good. That wasn't good. But being able to stay consistent enough and to hold your pace and hold as much as you can, especially after falling flat in that 4-0 shutout in game 4. I mean, that did not help at all, because the Wild were pretty much done for after Game 4. But seeing that all happen was a really good sign for the Wild to be able to bounce back. I mean, 5 different goal scorers in that win, 4 different goal scorers, I should say, in that win certainly does help. Kaprizov, you get Nico Sturm, Parise as well. I think Jordan Greenway got a goal in that one. I mean, they got a 3-1 lead after the first period, and that was definitely a great way to start the period and the game as well, and then hold up the rest of the way. Definitely speaks to, Wild aren't done yet. We'll see what happens here in Game 6 tonight.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's why I put it in the lower third, staying alive. We've seen the Wild be down 3-1 in a series before and then come back and win. And obviously there's been a lot of that, not just in the NHL, but in NBA and whatnot too, and in baseball for one as well. Mm-hmm. Now, it's good to know that there is still fight with this team. And, you got to respect what they've done so far. And, we don't need to go over, well, we didn't expect them to do this. Because, it's true. I don't need to go over it again and again. But there's still a lot of fight. They want to beat. They think they can beat, Vegas. And I think they can win this game tonight. Now, being at home in front of some fans too, for one. I think it's like 7,000 or something, like maybe even 10. I'm not sure, but for them to come out. Or for them to come out this game, and obviously they haven't done well at home, which is something in itself that you have to, keep your eye on during this. And it's something weird. Them at home, usually when you're at home, you're pretty pumped. And obviously I think they're going to come out with full head of steam. I think Parise's going to, do his thing. Kaprizov is going to be Kaprizov, obviously. Zuccarello. That line's just fantastic with Kaprizov, Gabrielli, and everything like that. But I think tonight is going to show what kind of heart this team has. And obviously Talbot's been great. Defense, Kalen Addison, we talked about it with the breaking into the league guys. I mean, it's nice to see him out there, filling in for Susie, I believe.
Yep.
And, there's a lot of guys that are, a little bit banged up too, and they've been able to, get some of these guys healthy, go out there and play their game. So that it's like you said, Voldy, this is a big game. And if they lose, well, I don't think I'd be that disappointed, especially because, obviously there's some work to be done, and I think we all can agree on that. There's some work to be done, which is fine. But anyway, before, which leads me to my next thing I want to ask you too. There's been a lot of buzz today there's been a lot of buzz today. I believe Michael Russo from The Athletic reported that Matt Boldy was on the ice with the Wild today. He will be on the bench, obviously. There's been a lot of speculation that he might play tonight because of, some injuries to certain players and everything like that. But, again, I don't know. If Evason's thinking, he might have to come in here. I think it's just Evason saying, here's what it's going to look like the next few years. Okay, we want you to experience this. If we need to put you in, we'll put you in. But I don't think he plays tonight, Voldy. Your thoughts on if Boldy's
no, I
Boldy's going to play?
I don't see if Boldy's going to play tonight. I don't see the sense in burning him for the one game. I think more of him being on the taxi squad or practicing with the main guys is setting him up for next year.
Yep.
Especially, if he starts off, they pull an Alex Kirilloff, the Wild do, and set him down with the AHL team for a little bit. That way he can get a little bit of seasoning before he gets back up with the big team and finds a way to stay on the roster. I just find it a way that maybe this is just about building rapport with guys because of the fact that maybe a good majority of the team isn't around next season. I think Bill Guerin, regardless of how things go, I think he's going to be, just buying and selling the farm here. But again, we'll talk about that more in depth here in the near future, depending on how the playoff series goes with Game 6 tonight. I don't see the sense in using Matt Boldy for just one game if it ends up being that way. Maybe we'll look at the next series to see if, they make it through Game 6 and then possibly Game 7 on Friday for the Wild. But I don't see him playing tonight at all.
No, I don't think so either. And, there's been a lot of speculation and people want to believe. It's like, well, why not? Well, it's like, well, maybe this could, I don't think it's too big of a risk. Let's just put it like that. It's too big of a risk at this point, especially when you're in a playoff series and when Boldy hasn't even played a game. It would be different if the Wild were saying, okay, we want you to come up, before Game 1 or something. It's a different thing. But to have him come up before Game 6, I'm not all in on that. I'll say that.
Right.
Mets says Vegas blew a 3-1 series lead and a 3-0 lead in Game 7 against the Sharks. So history could repeat itself.
There you go.
Voldy, I don't think Mets is far off on that, is he?
No, he's definitely not that far off. Though that was a very interesting team Vegas had when they blew that series against the Sharks of all people, who had literally nobody. They had like one or two guys. So maybe this is just, par for the course here and see what happens with this series lead.
Seymour says, don't got to look good, just got to win.
Boom.
Bingo. Then also, Voldy. Speaking of injuries, Voldy, what's with the cut on your nose?
Not a cut, it's a zit. There we go.
Ouch. Ooh. Yeah.
Thanks for pointing it out, Chris.
Yeah. He just, Seymour just likes to ruffle feathers.
That's all.
He likes to ruffle feathers a little bit, but that's okay. So, Voldy, the thing is we go, now that there's Matt Boldy and you're Voldy, this is tough for me. I mean, now I have to figure this out if we're talking about Matt Boldy, but anyway.
And we can't use Matt because lo and behold, here's you.
Right. So what are we gonna do here? What is going on?
That a paddle.
Yeah, exactly. I won't ask you for a prediction, Voldy, and I don't think we need to make predictions for tonight because I almost feel like that would have to be for Game 7 if they make it that far, obviously. So we're not going to make any predictions, but again, I'm feeling good about tonight. I'll say that. I'm feeling good about tonight. That's
I'm feeling as awake as probably everybody's going to be feeling tomorrow about it, just because of the fact the games always end up being late.
Yeah, well, 8 p.m. better than 9 p.m. I'll say that. At least
you get me past 8 o'clock, I'm dead to the world. Happened to me last night too. Passed out on the couch.
Yeah, there you go. But fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. But that is not the last Tater Tot Hot Take. We got to get to something that I think needs to be addressed. And obviously, we talk Minnesota sports with Tater Tot Hot Take, and the Vikings had OTAs this past week, and generally everything went pretty well. A lot of guys showed up, and There's some, I think Dantzler, obviously the whole Gladney situation, I don't think he was there as well, which the Dantzler thing is a little odd to me. I don't know why he wouldn't be there, but again, there's probably a reasonable explanation. Another person who wasn't there, and it comes to no surprise, Danielle Hunter, our guy, Danielle Hunter, and we want him back. We really do. But Voldy, there's a lot of chatter on the socials medias about this specific thing, and I just got to ask you. I mean, are you worried that from him skipping OTAs that the Vikings start to sweat a little bit? Wondering, do we give him a new deal, or what does he need? Is kind of the big thing for the Vikings. So are you kind of worried right now, or are you kind of like, we'll see what happens when minicamp comes, right?
I'm a little concerned right now, just because of the fact that, look, it's been a year and a half since we've seen Danielle Hunter on the field. And obviously the fact that it's OTAs, it's mainly for the rookies and the new guys trying to join the team, trying to make the team in the first place. Yes, veterans don't always show up, as Seymour did bring up, but, I would imagine some of these guys would just like to be back out on the field and back with the team at the same time, trying to build that rapport and at least, shake some of the rust off and maybe get out there and, stretch the legs a little bit. I'm concerned by the fact that this is being brought up already at this point, because it's OTAs, not a lot of guys show up in the first place. But then you start throwing out all these situations of, saying, well, we got to make him the highest paid player, or we got to trade him, basically. It's like, well, it's either one or the other. It's either death by falling off a cliff or death by fire, basically, is one or the other in this situation. I'm concerned. Now, he's got his deal right now through 2023, but, he's looking at the fact that maybe potentially somebody take on the last 2 years of his contract if somebody wants to make that step. It's a, fairly team-friendly deal as far as I know, but, I think the Will family is going to have to take a look if they want to keep him around long enough to make a big difference, because definitely needs some of that veteran leadership on a defensive line that was sorely lacking in veteran leadership last year. Yeah, and I guess right now it doesn't. I'll play devil's advocate here, but I don't think it concerns me yet, and the reason being is, I think Danielle has handled this pretty well. Obviously, him liking all these trades and on Twitter and everything like that is kind of odd to me. But at the same time, I feel like things are being handled internally, and I think the Vikings know his value. And is he underpaid? Yeah, I'd say so, because I've seen a lot of progression with him and what Zim and Andre Patterson have done with Danielle. And they need Danielle. The Vikings need Danielle. Danielle needs the Vikings, okay? Because right now, if we don't have a pass rusher on his side that is going to make a difference as of right now. Not saying that, that Jones and Robinson won't do well. I'm just saying, we need a veteran guy on the left side, on the right side, I think, for Danielle's case. But we can't just leave him hanging. And if they want to make a new, yes, he got hurt. He had a herniated disc. I understand that. But just from watching this guy play, he has been fantastic for the Vikings, okay? Now, him missing OTAs, I'm not worried about. Like Seymour said, and, I'd like to bring this up too, is a lot of veteran players don't show up for OTAs. We understand that, okay? We'll get to the Rodgers thing in a second, though, for ARA. But, again, there's a lot to be discussed with this, and I don't think we need to panic yet, Voldy and zoners as well, because I think when it gets to minicamp, that'll be kind of when, okay, what's going on here? Are we going to get something done? And the Vikings, obviously June 2nd is when they'll be able to have more cap space. So there's that to look forward to as well. So there's a lot of things that can happen here. One thing I want to read from Courtney Cronin on Twitter, ESPN. Now, does he have leverage? Depends on who you ask, but as of now, I don't expect to see Hunter at OTAs on Wednesday.
when media is allowed or at any point in the next few weeks. Doesn't surprise us one bit. So I don't think we need to worry just yet. All right, let's get to the zoners. Seymour says, also, Danielle is coming back from a pretty significant neck injury, like I mentioned. So better safe than sorry for now to have him sit out for now. And that's probably what they're doing. And I don't see any issue with that. Matt says, just don't let Shannon Sharp get him on the phone. That's coming up as well for ARA, so keep tuned in for that. But, yeah, no kidding. Hopefully Shannon Sharp doesn't call Danielle. We won't like that. Tommy Fitterer, not all worried about D Hunt. Good. OTAs are 100% voluntary. Won't be concerned until he no-shows at minicamp, like I mentioned. We addressed the DN twice in the draft, knowing that he could be a question mark, both physically and contractually. So there's that too, okay? But obviously with these rookies, you wanted, Andre Patterson and the defensive coaches need to do their work. If they know Danielle's not coming back, we got to get these guys going, okay? And, Weatherly knows the defense well too, so we can't forget about him. But the Vikings need Danielle. And it's that simple. The Vikings need Danielle. We need him to come back. We need him happy. And obviously the players want him back. They're going to open him back up with open arms. Okay? So it's not a big deal. Let's see what happens with minicamp, like Tommy was saying, like I've been saying as well. So let's we'll see what happens. But don't worry about it, Vikings fans. Do not get the pitchforks. Don't light the torches. Just wait. Relax. RELAX. So there's that. All right. Voldy, that'll do it for Tater Tot Hot Take. It's time for Callahan's School of Logic. We need to get to the Twins. And the reason why we're getting to the Twins today is because, there's been a lot of things haven't been going well, I should say. Things have not been going well. Now, the past couple games, they beat a couple of the worst teams in baseball, which you should. But I want to go more in depth with the zoners and you, Voldy, about, what's been going on. And, I always say, and there's been an issue with the Twins with pitching, which is true. Now, that's going to be kind of the main focus. I'm not going to get into the money thing with the poll ads and everything like that. I'm getting into the coaching, the way that they've signed these guys, and kind of the past history of how this has gone for the Minnesota Twins. So, anyway, let's get it rolling with some Callahan's School of Logic.
Class is in session. You're enrolled in Callahan's School of Logic.
All right, Voldy, it's time for Callahan's School of Logic. Zoners, Voldy, get your pens, get pencils, get your notepads, whatever you need to do. Get your iPad, for goodness sake, and type in some notes here. We're talking about the Minnesota Twins. Now, zoners, Voldy, you might be wondering what S.H.T.P means.
Yep.
It means someone help Twins pitching, okay? And yes, we understand. Now, I want to start this off with saying, I know this isn't the main reason the Twins have been losing games, things like that. It's come down to managerial decisions. It's come to, guys not living up to their contracts. Josh Donaldson, who's actually played pretty well as of late, but, free agent acquisitions, things like that. Bad coaching in general. So anyway, S.H.T.P, someone help Twins pitching. Okay. Now, let's start off with one thing. You can't avoid the fact this team struggles to find good pitching and is one of the many reasons why the Twins have started to kind of slow down, and now I don't want to say that they've completely been off kilter and they haven't been, I mean, Buxton's been a bright spot. Cruz is still bashing home runs now, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty of pitching. And like I said, you can't all put it on pitching, okay? But a lot of these losses have come down to pitching. We've had leads in games. A perfect example is Colome. He's got 3-4 blown saves already for the Twins. He's supposed to be the closer. Hell, do we even know who the closer is anymore? I mean, goodness sakes, they're putting out, whoever out there. It's crazy. The main thing is they don't have a specific closer right now. So what the hell are they doing, right? Now, one thing that has been brought up is, and people need to listen to Jimbo Vol. I'm serious. People need to listen to Jimbo. Put Taylor Rogers as the closer right now. He's been better than Callahan. I think Albers or something like that has been in there. Or whoever it is. I don't even remember. Yeah, someone got the save today. But anyway, there hasn't been a specific closer for this team yet this year. Callahan, what the hell are you doing? You're supposed to be the guy. And he obviously hasn't been able to close games. Now, let's get to the starting pitching. Okay, we talked about the closer. Let's get to the starting pitching. Remember when we're like, oh, isn't Kenta Maeda our ace now? I told the zoners, Voldy, I told the zoners. We cannot push all our chips into Kenta Maeda. Okay? I warned people, but why? What's been going on with him? Has it been something to where this was just a flash in the pan? Has this been, just people have figured him out? Like, what is going on with Maeda? Okay, now let's get to this. Let's get to some stats here with Maeda. Okay, his record's 2-2, and then his ERA is 5.27. That's not good for the guy that's supposed to be the ace. The guy, he hasn't been that guy, and our team's starting to figure maybe. But let's think about this. Has he had good coaching? Do we have to look at Baldelli? Do we have to look at Wes Johnson? We'll get to that in a second. Voldy, you have preached on this many times too. Barrios. Why in the world hasn't he's supposed to be the guy too? Like we all thought that he was the guy, right? But, I was listening to K-Fan, I was listening to Mark Rosen, the Common Man, and Teneby today, and Rosen made a comment. He says, he's just kind of plateaued. There hasn't been any like, oh, look at that. Like, he's skyrocketed. He's been fantastic. He's plateaued. So what is going on with him right now is my question. And, again, Barrios has to be consistent. He's had good outings. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But he's had terrible outings, too. Like, what is going on, man? You got to have at least some consistency with Barrios, and he just doesn't have it. Okay, give him some confidence or something like that. Work on his mechanics. But let's get to the coaching. Is it the coaching? Could it be the coaching? I don't know. We'll get into that a little later on. Now let's get to Happ and Shoemaker. Okay. Now a lot of the zoners and a lot of Twins fans have come on the show and have talked about. They did a good job, and they get Happ, they get Shoemaker, things are going. Now, I don't want to bash Shoemaker too much because I think Shoemaker's actually had a couple good outings, that's what we want to see. But there have been games where they can't even make it. They're lucky to make 3 innings. 3 innings. And their ERAs show it too. And with Happ, 5.44, and he's had pretty good. He had a good outing last time. And then Shoemaker's down to 5.48 now. But are they going to be consistent? Now, here's what I want to throw into this. And it's a little bit of the money aspect as well. Okay? They get the deals for those 2 guys. But there was another guy that was available. And his name's Trevor Bauer. And a lot of people, and Voldy, you can attest to this too, a lot of people were like, no, you don't want to get Bauer. You don't want to get Bauer. You don't want to get Bauer. Let's take a look at Bauer's stats right now. 5-2. ERA, 1.98 in 10 games.
Ha.
88 strikeouts.
Ha.
So you gotta wonder, maybe if the Twins were wanting to do that and wanting to spend money, and again, I'm not going to get into the whole poll ads thing, but I think the Bauer thing would have been pretty beneficial for the Twins. They could probably have more wins than they have right now if they had Trevor Bauer pitching instead of Happ and Shoemaker. Just saying. Mm-hmm. That's another thing to keep looking at. Okay. And like I said, we don't need to revisit this. If the Twins took a chance on Bauer, things might be... I'm not saying it'd be completely different. I'm just saying they'd win a little bit more games than they have been right now. The bullpen. Abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. There's a bunch of no-names who can't figure out how to manage a game, for one. I mean, the list goes on with these guys. Like, Derek... Who the hell is Derek Law? Who's Derek Law? Like this guy's got like an 8.53 ERA. What the hell? Cody Stashak, he's still on the team, 6.59 ERA. Bailey Obert, yes, he just had like one start, but he hasn't been great either. And Thielbar has his ups, but there's been a lot of downs. Duffy's been terrible.
A lot of downs.
5.19 ERA. Thielbar, the bullpen is a mess, absolute mess. So there's that to factor in too. And for the zoners that are chiming in, we're going to get to you in a second. I just want to finish this up. We're going to get to you, okay? Now, all of the ERAs for all these pitchers, unacceptable, embarrassing, okay? Coming off a successful season in 2020, what happened? Like, did have teams just figured you out? What is going on here? This is coming apart at the seams, and we can't seem to figure out how to fix it. Okay? But if this doesn't change, it's going to come down to Baldelli. It's going to come down to Wes Johnson. I don't care about the injuries because they keep avoiding the problem of pitching in the offseason. They don't go out and get guys that think that they can. You got to get guys that are kind of in their prime instead of guys that are just like, well, does he still have a little bit left in the tank? I don't know. But here's the logic in this. This is what it comes down to for the Twins. And this comes to the off season, okay? And obviously, with the coaching, Wes Johnson needs to step up with these guys, and he needs to make adjustments with these guys. And he needs to do it fast because, we're sitting at the bottom of the AL Central right now, and that's not where we want to be. So the logic in all this is it comes down to hiring the right people.
Yep.
Right now, Wes Johnson hasn't been good with this group right now, so I'm looking at him. I'm looking at some of these pitching coaches. So we got to look at that, the Saber Matrix, the analytics, all this nonsense. And then, just go out and overpay for guys. Okay, go out and get guys that are in their prime instead of guys, do they have a lot left? Do they have anything left in the tank? Just go out and overpay. Do what you need to do to make this team better and get rid of this whole idea of, do they have a lot left in the tank? This whole patchwork that they do, it has failed them time and again. And this year might be no different. So that's my spiel on it. Voldy, I'm going to get to you. We got to get to the zoners because there's been a lot.
Get to the zoners.
There's been a lot of comments here. Seymour says Buxton has been a bright spot. Yes. And
very
we can't
much
knock
so.
that. And hopefully he gets back here. On the injured list every other week.
Typical Buxton.
Yeah. I know. It's typical. Colomé is a poor man's Fernando Rodney. Absolutely. Yes. And Rodney, it's we just can't find the guys that can actually help. All right, here we go. Twins are sitting at 9th most runs scored. Also, Twins have let up the 6th most runs in the back. It's not good when Michael Pintar has been your best and most consistent starting pitcher. Exactly. Big Mike. Probably if again, it's too early to say. If they make the playoffs, he's probably going to be the number one pitcher on day one. I mean, it's just it's crazy. I mean, Big Mike's been the one that's actually been really good. Okay, can't trust managers that live with the unwritten rules of baseball as their Bible. Preach, Seymour. All right, Tommy says, Twins have scored 9th most runs, but Twins have allowed the 6th most runs. So, I already got this. That's weird. Sorry.
Come on.
Well, it was posted twice, apparently.
So important, he had to post it twice.
Yeah, apparently. Trevor Bauer was never going to the Twins. Dodgers payroll is too much to fight off. Well, then that brings me back to the whole poll ads conversation, which, again, this is not the big part of the conversation because I don't
like Joe Bauer by the Twins or somebody with fronted by a Bitcoin zillionaire or something.
Well, here's the thing. Here's another thing, too, is the Twins they always say they were in the running to get him. They were interested. They wanted him. No, you're just saying that just to get people saying, well, we tried, guys. Sorry. Yeah, BS.
Should have gotten Bumgarner when we had the chance.
Yeah. You can't tell me we didn't have enough assets to trade for Blake Snell, who's on a 5-year, $50 million contract. Bango, man. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me with the logic of the Minnesota Twins. Also have to wonder if keeping Trevor May would help the mid-relief/setup section of the pen. Got to figure that. And Trevor May actually was more the consistent kind of this, too, when he was with the Twins. Obviously, he had his ups and downs, but I feel like that's with any bullpen. But the bullpen has been terrible. So, all right, Voldy, let's get to you. What are your thoughts?
I've been saying it for a little while. The Twins have been really good about getting pitchers that are good. 5 years ago.
Yep.
Shoemaker, Happ, these guys were all-stars 5 years ago. That's kind of always been the mantra, and especially it's very relatable to how the Vikings get, veteran players and quarterbacks, guys that were good 5 years ago, 5+ years ago. But looking at this situation overall, they rely too much on getting guys either up through the system or just getting like 3 or 4 closers on teams that barely were 500 the year or two before. That's been one of the big Achilles heels, is just the amount of consistency that you go out and you go after guys that are either in your system, throw them in these pressure situations, and then just hope that it turns out well. Well, on the back half things of like, well, he was really good. He had like 27 saves last year with the Marlins or somebody. It's like, well, didn't last year the Marlins actually made the playoffs, but like, didn't the Marlins finish like 60 games under 500? Well, yeah, but he still had like 30 saves. I mean, Colomé, Duffy, Thielbar as well. You just don't know what you're going to get pitch by pitch with those guys. You throw in Cody Stashak and, those guys in the mix too. It's just not a very good sight overall. I'm just looking for the fact that, well, you brought up the whole Trevor Bauer situation. That situation, you would literally have to sell the whole team to get Trevor Bauer. Basically give him, put down a number, put down whatever you want to do. What are we going to have to do to have you on this team? And not only is Trevor Bauer not only good for the Twins, or would have been good for the Twins, he's just good for baseball. Almost every night they're talking about Trevor Bauer whenever he starts or what he's doing on the field as well. I mean, the guy is single-handedly making baseball better and making it just, taking all those unwritten rules and just throwing them out the window. He is single-handedly making baseball better again. The bullpen and the pitching, look, if they're not going to put in the time and the effort to go out and get guys, then why even bother as well? It's the whole situation, like with any situation with any Minnesota sports team. You don't have an ownership group that doesn't trust a GM to go out and get the money to get the players that a team desperately needs to build a winner. You're going to be going at this for a little while and have to taking money out of your own pocket to be able to go get these guys. So, until ownership and management get on the same level, or the ownership realizes maybe we need to find somebody who's thinking outside the box here and actually go out and do something so that way we can actually put together a winning team. Until that happens, it's going to be a long couple of summers, but every once in a while, blind squirrel finds a nut, and we have a team like we did in 2019.
Exactly. And, it's crazy how this all comes back to one thing. And obviously, it comes down to the poll ads. They're worth $4 billion, maybe even more now. Do we even know? That's the big question. They're worth all this money, but they won't let management spend it. They have a specific way of doing things, and this is why this team struggles, and this is why this team hasn't been good with getting guys like a Trevor Bauer or anything like that. Yes, I understand the Twins but in order to get that, it's got to or management's got to go to ownership and say, listen, if you want this team to be elite and everything that you want them to be, we need to spend money to get that person. Bullheads don't want to do that. So
nope,
comes down to that. But right now, it comes down to coaching. These guys got to be coached up. These guys got to be ready to go. And the unwritten rules, like you said, sabermetrics, analytics, and everything like that. Baldelli, you've made some pretty boneheaded decisions. It's time to throw that crap out and just play baseball. Okay? Screw the analytics. Screw the sabermetrics. Just play ball. Let the guys play. Let the boys play, Voldy. Let the boys play. So there's that. But the logic in all this, folks, is it's they gotta be coached up, and maybe we just need new coach. We need to fire guys. I mean, maybe it's like that. Before we move on, though, the issue is the Twins get too much recognition when a Carl Pavano, Phil Hughes, or a guy like Pineda pays off. They think that they can do it with anyone. Ricky Nolasco, Lance Lynn.
Thanks.
Has it turned around since leaving Minnesota? Addison Reed, etc. I mean, the list goes on. Every time they leave Minnesota, they somehow have a good career. They end up having their career revived with the right coaching. So, could be coaching. Just saying. So, there's that. So, S.H.T.P. Someone help Twins pitching. Someone help Twins pitching. So, there is that. All right, Voldy, it's time to get to A-Ray. And I can't wait for this first one because it's looking so good for the NFC North. It's looking so good for all the opposing teams in the NFC. Oh, it's just gonna be great. So let's get it going with some observe or approved.
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, Voldy, I was teasing it. It's time. It is time. So, Voldy, why don't you rattle them off for us, please?
Well, the big news to start off this week, obviously the fact that we kind of alluded to it with Tater Tot Hot Take of OTAs actually starting this week for the NFL, and one significant player for a significant team that's been making significant noise during this offseason, that being Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Well, not exactly on the bestest of terms right now. Aaron Rodgers was absent from OTAs for the Green Bay Packers and hasn't much rather felt the love with the Green Bay Packers about the organizational philosophy that has occurred over the last couple of years, and especially the drafting of quarterback Jordan Love in that time. Now, Rodgers, of course, coming off his third MVP season, wasn't at the start of OTAs and was on ESPN with Kenny Mayne in his final show talking about that whole situation overall. And, well, is it absurd or approved Aaron Rodgers not being at OTAs with the ongoing dispute with the Packers?
It's music to my ears. It's really music to my ears. Now, I wanna bring up a quote that Rodgers made when he was with Kenny Mayne. And he's in Hawaii right now. He's having a good time. Shailene Woodley, Miles Teller, the actor guy. Now, it's just it's interesting. he made a quote in there, and I'm paraphrasing here, but no, excuse me. I actually got it. Hold on. He talked about Jordan Love, obviously. He said, I love Jordan. He's a great kid. We've had a lot of fun to work together. Love the coaching staff. Love my teammates, which we kind of knew. I mean, honestly, we all knew it was kind of just management.
Exactly.
Loves the fan base in Green Bay. An incredible 16 years. Isn't that interesting? He said an incredible 16 years, which makes it, that is interesting. That almost tells me that he thinks he wants out. I think he wants out. So there's that. It's just kind of about a philosophy, and maybe forgetting that it is about the people that make the thing go. It's about character. It's about the culture. It's about doing things the right way. And what does it come down to? It comes down to the guys upstairs in the Green Bay organization right now. Mm-hmm. They are not budging. This is very similar to the whole Brett Favre deal. Okay? And I think Rodgers finally is kind of like understanding, like, this is how they operate. This is what they want. But if I want change, I'm going to stand my ground here. Interesting. So, not only that, well, first of all, it's got my stamp of approval because I'm loving every second of this because people are freaking out. Now, and I know Metz is tuned in. And I'm not saying that he won't. If he stays around beyond June 2nd, I mean, maybe he'll play, maybe he won't. I don't know. But you know what's interesting is he's out on vacation right now. He's having a good time in Hawaii. It doesn't seem like he has any care in the world. He doesn't care if he's at OTAs or not. He doesn't give a damn at all, which is funny. But again, he's coming off an MVP season. The Packers are treating him just not well. The coaching staff wants him back. I think anyone would tell you that. But they're just not on the same wavelength right now. And I'm loving every second of this. And it's looking good for a trade right about now. So it's got my stamp of approval. But Seymour says, LOL, the fact that you're celebrating this Aaron Rodgers stuff just shows how much you fear him and how much he owns the NFC North. Yeah, to an extent. I mean, we've won the NFC North against Rodgers a couple times. We've had some
coming
success.
from a guy who was a Titans fan.
That's a good point. Well, Titans, Titans are the Titans. There's that.
Yeah,
too.
Titans are on the up and up. I'll give them that.
Yeah, we gotta give them that. But the reason why I'm celebrating this is just because you just want to beat the guy. He's very talented, but. You just want to beat him. I mean, you want to beat the best, right? Packers management ain't budging because they know Rodgers has zero leverage in this situation. He's under contract for a long while, and if he doesn't play, they just put in Jordan Love in. If Love isn't the answer, guess what? They're probably bad enough to be the top of the draft to get a new QB. So maybe there's something at work here. But I don't know. I just feel like the Packers organization is just not the smartest bunch either, too. But maybe they are. I don't know. Maybe they're playing a game that we're playing checkers, they're playing chess. I don't know. But, again, things are not looking good for Packer fans if they have to start Jordan Love. So there's that. Voldy, your thoughts?
Look, I honestly don't know what Aaron Rodgers still has to prove. Just hang him up.
Yeah,
be done with
retire.
Got a fiance. You're living your best life. You hosted Jeopardy, for Pete's sake.
Yeah.
You've already won at life, my man. Just hang it up.
Won a Super Bowl.
I'm just saying. What else is there left to prove? I mean, it's got my stamp of approval. He's missing OTAs. Again, he knows the whole offense inside and out. He could probably go out there and run the defense for a little bit, too, if he really wanted to. Look, all this animosity, we understand the situation. You would think in this day and age, especially where he's at right now, he has a little bit of, I wouldn't say so much leverage. He knows how this team works, how it works on the front side with the actual playing, and the back side as well. You would think a little bit with some of the management material, but it's the same situation 16 plus years ago. he was that guy that got drafted. They already had a franchise quarterback in the guy named Brett Favre. And, well, we all know how that turned out. Maybe this is just it all over again. Maybe 16 years from now, we'll be talking about Jordan Love not wanting to come back for OTAs and whoever is going to be one of the top, draft picks at quarterback for the Packers. Maybe this is just how things work nowadays. We're just going to go through this cycle every 15 years where the starting quarterback's not happy in Green Bay. He's off in Hawaii, hanging out with actors, growing out his hair again, slowly losing it. Look, overall, it's got my stamp of approval. I don't know so much about fear Aaron Rodgers. Well, we respect the hell out of him. We just don't want him to play anymore for Green Bay. Yeah. Just move on. Find something else. Just go.
Just go to Denver. Go to Vegas.
Stay in Hawaii. Do your thing.
Hang out with Shalene. Hang out with Miles Teller. Just live your best life. A-Rodg.
Stay on the Big Island. Stay there.
All right, we got another Tommy chiming in here. I know this is a big comment, but I approve of the Rodgers issues with the team. His frustration stems from wanting to win another Super Bowl now, which makes sense, knowing he's getting older. Upper management clearly has a keen eye on the future of the Packers more than now, taking Love and A.J. Dillon first and second last year, and now letting Lindsley, Rodgers' best veteran protector, walk away. So, maybe they are. Maybe they're thinking of that, but Rodgers is looking at this and being like, I've done a lot, for you guys too. So there's being completely honest. I mean, you throw that in there as well. I mean, he has done a lot for this team. I mean, he's been the whole team for some of these years. Now, the reason why they haven't gotten back to the Super Bowl, they haven't had a good defense after that Super Bowl they won. And yes, it's improved this past year and everything like that. But again, there's teams are finding out weaknesses within that. There's still holes in that defense. So,
yep.
They call themselves the cheese, but there's a lot of holes in the defense. It's Swiss cheese.
Swiss cheese.
But one other thing before we move on to the next thing. Rodgers praised just about everyone except GM Brian Gutekunst. Whatever.
That guy.
And the front office, the GM for the Packers. So I think it's with the organization. Rodgers isn't happy, and I think he's like, all right, fine, trade me. So there's that. Then Rodgers goes to the Jets like Favre did. LOL. Well, Zach Wilson. If he wants to go to the Jets, and the Jets are like, oh, we'll take Rodgers. Roger.
Jacksonville.
Jackson. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence and everything. Oh, that'd be
Preserve the perfect record of Trevor Lawrence. Never lost a game. He's going to lose week 1. That's how it works.
Until he gets traded, he's still a Packer. He might not just play then. There's that. You got to think about that, Mets. He might not play and do a Le'Veon Bell deal. So,
hell yeah.
See. Now we got to move on to another trade speculation as well. So, next one, Voldy.
Also alluded earlier on the show, Atlanta Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones made an appearance on television while speaking on the phone with Shannon Sharp during his appearance on the show Undisputed. When asked about what he wants to do, especially with the Atlanta Falcons, because he requested a trade at the beginning of the offseason, and well, he said, quote, I'm out of there, meaning that Julio Jones doesn't want to play for the Atlanta Falcons anymore. Age 32, requested a trade at the beginning of the offseason back in March, but the organization was trying to protect him and work quietly behind the scenes. Now, the Falcons would not prefer to trade him in the NFC for the potentiality of regular season matchup or potential postseason, but would do so for the right price. Now, there have been some speculation out there. Maybe the New England Patriots want to go make a run at that Julio Jones guy to see what kind of price tag and get out of him as well. Absurd or approved Julio Jones wanting out of Atlanta, and where do you think he'll end up?
Ooh. It's got my stamp of approval of him wanting out of Atlanta. And Atlanta, I think, is a place right now where eventually they will be moving on from Matty Ice, Matt Ryan. and whatnot. They're kind of looking kind of towards the future a little bit. I don't know. It's kind of a weird deal in Atlanta right now. Obviously, I think Matt Ryan's still got, a little bit left in the tank, I would say. But again, you look at this team, and Calvin Ridley's been stepping up, doing a great job. And, they've got weapons on offense. And I think Julio is looking at the situation, and he wants to win now. And when you look at the situation with the Falcons, I mean, he's done everything he could for the Falcons. Obviously, with the Patriots, losing the Patriots in Super Bowl, I mean, he played an excellent game in that Super Bowl. And, he's done what he needs, and you got to respect that with Julio Jones. Now, where do I think he's going to go? I honestly, I don't know. But I think Seymour is going to like my answer here. A.J. Brown's been doing some recruiting to him to the Titans. Now, it all comes down to if they're able to get this figured out with trading Julio over to the Titans. I don't know how much cap room they got or anything like that, or what they have to give up for the Titans. But it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they looked at, the New England Patriots. I mean, if you get Cam another weapon, maybe this gets thrown to the wayside a little bit, and we see Cam, get going. Or if it's Mac Jones, Mac Jones, then you got that too. So I think I could see the thing is, it's going to come down to Vrabel versus Belichick. I feel like for this sweepstakes. But I think if Julio's looking at defense right now, but is there a steep enough decline with the Patriots that we would win now? The Titans have a good defense. Tannehill's been pretty good. I mean, he hasn't been awful, so there's that. But the funny thing is, too, and Metz has brought it up before I throw it over to you, Voldy. Skip was crying inside when he said he didn't want to go to the Cowboys. Who would? Ooh. America's team. But, Skip, as I like to say. But I think it's going to come down to the Titans or the Patriots, but I don't know. I think you gotta look at who's the better team, and maybe Julio, he'll probably he might go to the Titans. I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the Patriots. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I definitely see that Julio is out of Atlanta. I think right now everything that's been done can be done. I know that Matt Ryan says he's still got plenty left in the tank that he says, but couple more hits, and there's not going to be much left in that tank to begin with in the first place. I mean, even last year, too, we were talking about, this could be the it for Matt Ryan. He held up pretty decently.
He did.
For the most part, given what he had to begin with. And, obviously, Gabriel's really up. I should say Calvin Ridley's really picked things up. Another Alabama wide receiver, too, come to think of it. I definitely don't blame Julio wanting to get out of Atlanta. And you know what? It's good. Like you'd been talking about, Tennessee or New England. I definitely want to go a little bit closer towards New England. Not for no particular reason whatsoever. Just looking at it from the standpoint, Julio was coached by Nick Saban in Alabama. Nick Saban's pretty close and pretty good buddies with old Bill Belichick up there. Cam Newton as your quarterback. I'm sure that's been something they definitely wanted to have been talking about for a little while, of coming together, maybe making a little noise, especially when they were facing off against each other at least twice a year in the NFC South. Maybe finally solidify an actual true wide receiver on that team, because New England also has a knack for getting really good wide receivers that were good 5 years ago. But Julio, he's good right now. He's really good right now. I mean, you look at the wide receivers they've gotten in the past. Demaryius Thomas, well past his prime. Chad Ochocinco at the time, he was well past his prime. Mohamed Sanu, who did nothing. And then you just get all these guys. You get even this offseason as well. They signed Nelson Aguilar, who is literally no one whatsoever.
Overpaid,
in the first place. Then you get all these no-name guys. Like you draft first-round wide receivers, they're gone within 3 years of the team before they can even expire off their rookie deal in the first place. Like N'Keal Harry, who's there right now, I mean, I'd be surprised if he makes it past week 5.
Flash in the pan, yeah.
Yeah, with them. It's just crazy to see. It's got to be New England in my mind that Julio makes it out of Atlanta with.
And another thing too is that, you know, when they last, or like a big name wide receiver, when they last traded for, I think it was Moss when they from the Raiders to the Patriots, and he did a great job. I mean, he was fantastic for the Patriots. Yep. So if Bill's wanting to repeat history, bringing Julio to New England, watch out. Tommy has a quick ARA for us. Adam Vinatieri inducted into Canton in 2027. Absolutely stamp of approval.
I don't see why you
wouldn't. I mean, the guy is literally... Oh. How old is he? 42? 43? Do we know? Do we have any indication?
At least 43. Yeah. I know him and Brady were going at it for the oldest. So
yeah. But anyway, yeah, you say Patriots, I'll say Titans, just because we got to be different in some places. So we'll see what happens. Maybe it's someone else. So there's that. All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, it was announced that Team USA for the Olympic baseball tournament, for trying to qualify for the Olympic baseball tournament, unveiled their roster, which has a few familiar names for those that have followed Major League Baseball in the last, we'll say, decade plus, that at least know a few names that have been significant enough to wear the colors of their home country. Seeing players like Homer Bailey, Edwin Jackson, David Robertson, Matt Wieters, the Todd Father Frazier, Matt Kemp, and John Jay were among the 28 names that were unveiled with the Team USA roster that will be a part of U.S. training camp for Team USA's second opportunity to qualify for the Olympic baseball tournament. Looking at this team overall, led by U.S. manager Scott Brocious, who took over for old teammate Joe Girardi before he got the job to become the Philadelphia Phillies manager. Does Team USA qualify for the Olympic tournament?
That's a good question. I mean, for one, obviously Matt Kemp is a guy that I've liked a lot. Frazier, I remember Frazier. He was another good player too.
Frazier was just in the league a month ago.
Wasn't he?
Barely.
Yeah.
3 weeks ago before he got let go by Pittsburgh.
Well, what the hell?
I know.
Logan Forsythe is in this as well. It's crazy, too.
Twin.
Eddie Alvarez. I mean, I'd say so. I think they got a good shot. Homer Bailey obviously didn't work out for the Twins. But I don't see why not. And obviously, I think these guys would be motivated to have this team, qualify. So I would say, yeah, it's got my stamp of approval. I want to see baseball at the Olympics. I want to see it happen, and I think we're going to get that with these guys. And they're going to qualify, they're going to practice, and it's going to. Joe Girardi quit and yeah, that's right. Girardi was supposed to, but never. Obviously, he got the job with the Phillies, but. It's been such a long time, and I talked about the last time we brought this up for ARA too. Obviously you're not going to get huge big name guys, or you're not going to get it'd be kind of funny if Big Papi was like, I'll play. Well, that's right. He'd be in the Dominican Republic. He'd be playing for the Dominican Republic. Duh. But I mean, yeah, I don't see why not. Why the heck not? Let's see what happens. Obviously, there's going to be some good, stiff competition. But at the same time, I'm just looking forward to it, and I think it's going to be fun to watch. Let's get it going. Let's do it. So, Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, looking at the team that they will have going into it, it's disappointing to see that Adam Jones didn't make the team as well, but it would have been nice to see him suit up one more time for Team USA. It's not going to be a gimme in the qualifying tournament. They got to play teams like the Dominican. They got to play Puerto Rico as well, and in their group that they play, but obviously the other group does include Canada, Colombia, Cuba, Venezuela as well. Team USA is also with Nicaragua in their group. I definitely could see them making the Olympic tournament. Now, let's remember that the Olympics is what, 2.5, 3 months away? Not even. It's like solid 2.5 months away. It's like end of July into August. And, looking at it overall, I mean, this tournament actually starts this weekend. It starts on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And, the tournament to qualify for the Olympics is going to be very, very interesting to see how it all ends up. Looking at overall, seeing some names, obviously Homer Bailey, Edwin Jackson, see what kind of shape they're in as well. I mean, Homer did play last year with the Twins. David Robertson in a relief role. See other relievers, Clayton Andrews, former outfielder, now pitcher Anthony Gose. Mark Zepchinski, one of my favorite baseball names. You got Tim Fedorovich behind the plate with Matt Wieters too. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's some names here. Now let's see if they can all put it together as well. Got a few young guys, a couple top prospects, seeing like Jared Duran from Boston. He's definitely one guy that's going to try and make a spot for him as well, with Matt Kemp and John Jay in the outfield. We'll see how that all kind of turns out, but be interesting to see. I definitely see them qualifying for the tournament.
Let's go. That's all I got to say. Let's go. So we'll see what happens. I'm stoked. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, it was announced here earlier this week that 6 of the biggest high school basketball powerhouses in the country are set to form a national elite league set to begin, well, actually, this coming season, 2021-2022. The National Interscholastic Basketball Conference will include some of the big, well-known schools: Oak Hill, Mount Verde, even IMG Academy, La Lemure, Sunrise Christian Academy out of Kansas, and Wasatch Academy, along with 2 other schools that have yet to be announced to play in a single conference against each other, is how it's all looking at. And obviously we know some of these programs basically produced all the big stars in the NBA within the last, turn of the century, basically. Oak Hill, that did produce Carmelo Anthony. Mount Verde, they brought out D'Angelo Russell, I think it was. Yeah. And then IMG Academy just brings out anybody and everybody in every sport whatsoever. Absurd or approved, these high schools all coming together to produce their own conference, creating their own elite conference, that is.
Well, I think it's got my stamp of approval because I used to cover some of this too. Obviously with Marvin Bagley, who was playing against a lot of the top teams. Trey Jones for one too.
Right.
Obviously, those guys, and obviously there's so many leagues with it, the grassroots and everything like that. But it's got my stamp of approval because it's the best of the best. And that's what you want to see with these teams. You want to see these teams go toe-to-toe with one another, making their own conference. And, it's not like Minnesota where it's like, okay, here's your conference, here are the teams you play. And then sometimes there's the teams that are just really damn good. And then you got, Joe Bag of Donuts University, just completely barely has a program and everything like that due to whatever reason. And then they get smoked when they play each other or something like that. This makes sense, and obviously you want the best of the best to play against one another. And there's a lot of top names. I mean, Cade Cunningham probably going to be the number 1 pick here in the 2021 NBA draft, like for Montverde. While 4 of the top 10 rising seniors currently attend schools. Number 2 prospect Jalen Duren of Montverde. It's one of those things where it just makes sense, and you want to have the best of the best playing against each other. Obviously, they're in different areas and whatnot, but I mean, somehow they get the top guys in high school. I don't know how they do it. It's just one of those things where if it's a successful program, and if you do the right things and you know the right people, they'll go to your school, and if they want to get to the NBA, that's how you get through. So there's going to be a lot of great games, and these teams are very competitive. So it's got my stamp of approval. Voldy, what do you think?
Yeah, I think maybe all the teams that they would be playing in their normal schedule are probably a little bit more happy that they're all just going to move on to their own little conference as well. Yeah. Especially in Florida, Kansas, Utah, Indiana, all those other schools are just like, thank God, go away so we can actually try and win something for once. Look, this is just going to put these kids on a whole new, bigger standard and a whole new scale, because when you get like Oak Hill going up against IMG Academy, a lot of those kids, if they aren't going to be playing with each other, they're definitely going to be playing against each other either in college or at the pro level some days. So this is just going to be more of a scouting and reporting and recruiting opportunities for them to, get to know each other even more and even, face each other years to come as well. I think this is just great. It even gives other people more opportunity to watch some of these games as well. I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch, Oak Hill against La Lemure, when they play against each other on, a Thursday evening on ESPN. But you know what? That option is there. It's for whoever wants to take it. So definitely going to be it's something worth noting, so it's got my stamp of approval.
I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's going to be interesting, and you have the top teams playing in one little deal there, so it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of competitive games. So, all right, last one, Voldy.
Well, this is an interesting one because I didn't even hear about this until like 4 or 5 hours ago when I was doing some research on this. Now, everybody knows, as you can probably tell, I'm a big hat aficionado, and one of the trusted brands in the world of hats is, well, New Era. They've got all the affiliations with, some of the big leagues like, the NFL, Major League Baseball. They've done some work with, the NBA as well. Well, they decided to pull out a line of MLB-affiliated, quote, local market hats. And, well, let's just say they kind of missed the mark in a lot of different areas with some of these teams. So much so that widespread mockery on social media led them to take the hats completely off their website. And after last night as well. The line of the featured hats had a combination of team logos, local area codes, landmarks, World Series logos, and other local tie-ins scattered all over. So basically any generic stereotype about where the team is from and area, slap it on a hat and somebody's going to spend $35, because you think I'm joking. You go to New Era right now, you could try and get yourself a nice Twins hat, $35, $34.99 if you don't have a team discount. Just a couple of examples of the complete absurdity, and you probably know where I'm going to go with this. The absurdity of where they went. Like for the Los Angeles Dodgers, they displayed 9 area codes plus a pair of palm trees, the California State Bear on the side of the hat, and a taco on the back. Okay, that's going to ruffle a few feathers. The Atlanta Braves, they apparently had a UFO on the front of the hat. The Kansas City Royals had 4 different area codes listed on theirs, none of which are actually in Missouri, where the Royals actually play. The Cleveland Indians had a pierogi on the back of theirs, apparently for the big German, Eastern European ancestry. That's the word I'm looking for in the area. The Philadelphia Phillies and the Washington Nationals each both had identical 1776 logos on their hats as well. Absurd or approved, just the complete insanity of New Era's idea of the hat. And especially talking like a Twins one as well. I've seen a couple of pictures of what the Twins one actually looked like. Yeah. Would you have bought one?
No. I mean, if they're making mistakes like this because they can't figure out how to, put it... the statement I love. In light of this, we removed collection from our website so we could review the design accuracy of all the caps. Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do that before you put this all out there for display? I mean, good Lord, how can you mess this up is my question. I mean, you guys clearly were just lazy and were like, wow, we're just going to throw on 1776 on the Phillies one and the Nationals. Like, what? What are you doing? And it's just, the inaccuracy of all this is something that just, it's laughable. And honestly, and they're like, oh, we're going to we're going to pull it. It's like, well, how about you do your research before you do something like that and display it and not have someone be like, guys, this is wrong because this is supposed to be this. It's a whole situation. And Mets that says Manfred definitely had his input in this.
Oh man,
It's probably true. It's probably true. So, Voldy, it's absurd beyond belief.
It's completely absurd. I actually did pull up a picture of it. So here's what we've got on the hat itself. So on the front of it, you got the Twins TC on it. You've got all 7 area codes on the front of the hat as well. It looks like a group of some lakes, it looks like. On the back, you've got the Minnesota script right above the Major League Baseball logo. Looks like one side of it has the state of Minnesota with 1987 on it for the Twins winning the World Series that year. And then also it looks like it could be a hamburger, maybe representing the Juicy Lucy, I guess. It's like it looks like a hamburger with all the fixings on it. On the side, it's got the 1987 World Series patch on it with the in-script Minnesota North Star State. And on the other side of it, it's got a big old axe on it as well.
Oh, Paul Bunyan.
So definitely missed the mark. Let's just talk about the fact, in designing all this probably had to go through about, I would certainly hope it went through 7, 8, 9, 37 people for all 30 Major League Baseball teams, and they're just like, good. Good. Yep. I like it.
Yeah.
Yep, it's good. Boom, production. Let's get them shipped out today. The fact that it went through all that, I would certainly hope it went through all that to get from concept idea to artwork to production on the website, and everybody's just like, good. Yep. That'll work.
Good.
Look, I'm all about flooding the market in the first place, but the fact they went this far and to only take it all back in the first place, it's completely absurd. Like Mets did say, Manfred's definitely got his hands in on this one.
Maybe even the poll ads.
Missed the mark in a big way.
Maybe even the poll ads. You never know. But it's completely absurd. I mean, you guys messing that up. I mean, that's big, man. You can't mess that up. So.
Yep.
Oh well. All right. That'll do it for ARA, I believe, this week.
There we are.
Great job as always. Let's get to some Shield shout-outs. There's been a lot that we've talked about today, but I think it's time we get to some shout-outs. And, there's been a lot of cool stuff that we have going on here. Obviously Phil Mickelson as well. We'll get into
lefty.
That. Old lefty. So let's get it going. Let's have shout-outs.
Shield Shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who are you shouting out tonight?
Well, I just remembered this to put this down on paper, but I was going to do it in no matter what as well. Want to wish one extra day early, happy early 4th wedding anniversary for myself, and also to the love of my life, mother of Case Paul James Vold, MinneZona Sports Live creative consultant, Mrs. Sarah Ann Tews Vold. As lo and behold, if the weather does not hold out, hold out, well, I'm gonna have to be doing a softball game tomorrow, so we won't be able to actually celebrate our anniversary on Thursday. We got a couple plans for the weekend as well, but I do want to wish a happy early wedding anniversary to my wife for the 4 years of putting up with me legally, and at the same time for all the time that we've been together as well. She's an amazing mother. She's an amazing wife. She's just an amazing person as well. So happy early wedding anniversary to Mrs. Shield and Mrs. Sarah Ann Tews Vold. Big Shield shout out to old lefty Phil Mickelson, which we did talk about earlier, winning the PGA Championship on Sunday. Become the oldest player to win a major as well. Old lefty still getting it done to this day, showing all the kids how it's done each and every day, and each and every time steps out on that course as well. We did talk about it earlier with, I believe Tommy Fitterer did bring it up. The GOAT, the kicking GOAT himself, Adam Vinatieri, did announce earlier today that he is retiring from the NFL, and also as the NFL's all-time points leader, Super Bowl champ, 4-time Super Bowl champ, 3 with the Patriots, once with the Colts as well, the best to ever do it. Mr. Clutch Kick himself Adam Vinatieri hanging it up from the NFL. So happy retirement to Adam Vinatieri for his announcement earlier today. Now, as we close out Shield Shoutouts here this week, I want to put this out here. It's been 1 year ago this week and it's been shared on our Facebook page. Be sure to go to MinneZona Sports Live on Facebook that you're watching on right now. Check it out. It was 1 year ago. It was 1 year ago this week that we did have for the first time Will Rattel on the show. And we talked about, obviously, all the good times and all the fun, his story about Matt Ryan and when he was with the Falcons and everything.
Yes.
One thing stood out and still bugs me to this day.
Oh, I know.
Will Rattel for not liking or not even knowing about a staple, an institution that is in Grand Forks, North Dakota, where he resides, where he works, where he's involved in the community, I would hope, the Red Pepper.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, this past weekend, I wasn't able to go up to Fargo with some family and friends. That didn't stop the Vold family from getting their dose of red pepper. So I want to do this. End of July, early August. I'm going to be in the Grand Forks area, probably around Hatton, North Dakota as well. Vold family reunion, getting together with some family and, for some family fun at the end of July into August. Will Rattel, hit me up. Facebook, social, all the socials medias. Let's get together. I want to come to Grand Forks. I want to sit down with you. Original location or at the Red Pepper location, the end of University Drive. Either works for me. We need to finish this. We need to hash this all out. Look, if you don't like it, you don't like it. We need to put this in paper, put this on stone, and get this on video as well. Will Rattel at the Red Pepper. Need to make this happen because I'm coming, Will Rattel, and I'm bringing the Red Pepper with me as well. We need to make this happen. That's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
Oof. Well, here's the thing. I think this, let me add on to this by saying that this needs to be episode 2 of Voldy's Vlogs. I think it should be. I think it could be a segment. It could be a fun segment. I think Rattel would do it. But he mentioned Who Hot though on our socials medias.
Hey, I'd be cool with Who Hot. I love Who Hot.
There you go. I mean, if that's how you guys want to do it, I mean, then do it. Well, Rattel, I think he'd be willing to, but the only thing is I think we need a response, and we want a response on the show, right?
Absolutely.
Because we got to get him on the show, and obviously we'll get it on soon. I don't know if get him on soon. I don't know if we'll get him on next week, obviously, but again, we'll work something out. I think Rattel, we got to get Rattel on and see what he thinks. If he's down for it, let's get it going. Voldy's Vlogs, episode 2.
So it's already set, man. We just go to the Red Pepper. You get yourself half a grinder, turkey with the taco meat, warm it up a little bit.
Okay.
Go light on the lettuce, extra
good.
white sauce, a little bit of red sauce. Good to go. Get yourself a bag of chips, a little red pepper hot sauce, a chip sauce, I should say. Good to go. It's all done. We'll already get it set up and set in order.
There you go. There you have it. That's all we needed. That is all we needed. So, but anyway, before we end the show, always we got to get to some merch stuff because
merch,
stickers, people. We got many. We have many, and if you want some, we'll give them. We're gonna bring them to you. That's the big thing is we're gonna bring these stickers to you. $2, $3, depending on the size, obviously. We'll get them to you. And then also, if you want a shirt, if you're still looking for a MinneZona shirt, we have shirts for you. $20, $5 shipping. Talk to me, talk to Voldy, talk to Jimbo. We got it all. So, and then also thanks to Tyler Knudsen, Crown Rental, and National Fleet Graphics for the stickers as well. And then Voldy already talked about it. W2 Performance, the Barbell Nerds. Rattel's always posting videos. It's great tips. He's doing a fantastic job. And also he's got stickers available. These bad boys, $2. So make sure you check out the Barbell Nerds podcast and W2 Performance. And make sure to check out Jack's Junkyard, now with apparel. So make sure you check that out with Jack O'Keefe. were wearing their sweatshirts last week. They're very comfortable, by the way. Love the sweatshirts, Jack.
Very comfortable, yes, sir.
And also, check out Breaking Into the League with Sam Gabrielli, Ryan Martin, available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and whatnot. So make sure you're checking in everything hacky for that as well. So, but anyway, Voldy, great job as always. We made it through it. We made it through without any interruptions.
We did it.
We did it. No interruptions from Mediacom. Skype didn't do anything to mess us up. We appreciate the good news that we could get through it, and obviously it's been a while since we've had too many big issues. So hey, we're doing just fine so far. So, but anyway, we'll have another show, and obviously we're gonna have more fun, more topics. Hopefully the Wild are moving on to the next round for the next show. So fingers crossed. So we'll see what happens, but. As always, folks, keep in the zone.
Holla.
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.